Hello and welcome to the Golf Club Design Studio. My name is Ralph Maltby, and in the design studio there are all kinds of tools and equipment and machines and gauges to do research and find out a lot more about golf equipment and how it performs. Over all the years, I've written a number of books. I've done a bunch of DVDs on various subjects, and also have a brand new website called ralphmaltby.com that's loaded with technical information. Developed a number of tools over the years to help people repair, alter, and fit golf clubs, and then also designed a number of different golf clubs, not only for the GolfWorks, which was my company, but for many other companies in the business. You know why we're doing all that? It's to help people play better golf. And here's something that I would like you to really remember and get it down to the real nitty-gritty, and it's this. When we look at a player, we are trying to take every bad variable out of their equipment that doesn't help them. That's how we help them play better golf. So we use all this technical information, and we go out and we get people to keep coming back to the store because we are truly the number one in knowledge and knowing what we're doing in the fitting process and recommending the proper equipment for that particular person. Most of you have heard of the GolfWorks because it's in all of our stores. I started the company in 1976, and 30 years later, in 2006, I sold to Golf Galaxy. The GolfWorks manufactured wood heads in the past. We manufactured for companies like MaxFly and Persimmon for Power Build, and a number of different companies we did manufacturing for. The GolfWorks has a lot of specialized gauges. We sell to a lot of club makers. We sell to all the OEM manufacturers. They buy a lot of tools from us. So basically, we sell virtually every supply there is to repair, alter, build, or fit a golf club. So the GolfWorks is synonymous with very high quality. We have a very high integrity as a company, and we can do things that a lot of other companies can't do. We refinish old woods back to perfection. We also can re-groove clubs. We have a re-chroming service. So many specialty things, and we've done a ton of stuff for people on tour. We maintain a lot of tour players' clubs. We can do billet putters on tour. There are a lot of things that we can do that other people simply cannot do. So the GolfWorks always, again, the highest quality when you're talking about supplies and services. There are over 500 heads on the wall behind me representing 500 sets of golf clubs. Each one of those heads has been calculated for Maltby playability factor, MPF, using a point system and a computer program. The point system is represented by 6 different categories that each of those heads could fall into. The top category is ultra game improvement. The next category is super game improvement. Then there's game improvement, conventional, classic, player classic. Well, with today's knowledge in designing irons and understanding mass and dimensional properties, there's no reason that any iron, even a muscleback, shouldn't at least be in game improvement and on up. Now here's what MPF, or Maltby Playability Factor, does for us. Maltby Playability Factor allows us to select an iron head or a category of iron heads that we currently have in the stores, and when an individual comes in, determine which category he really or she should really be in. And the reason for this is that some people come in and in their minds they have a certain set that, well, a friend told them they ought to buy. Well, that set may be very low on playability. This person may not have the ability, and probably it may even be a starter in golf, then he's not going to be able to play very well with those clubs. So we need to be able to at least have general categories to fit someone into utilizing Maltby Playability Factor, and that's what it does. So here's a little bit more on Maltby Playability Factor. I told you it's the mass and dimensional properties of the iron head itself. What does that mean? In that iron head, there is a certain vertical center of gravity location, a horizontal center of gravity location, and a rearward center of gravity location. All 3 of those locations will intersect at a point either inside or outside that head. That point is the true or actual center of gravity of the club head. So we utilize that point in determining Maltby Playability Factor. The lower that center of gravity is, the higher the MPF rating. The higher the center of gravity is, the lower the MPF rating. The farther the center of gravity is out from the hosel, thus making the club head more stable, the higher the Maltby playability factor, and the farther the center of gravity is in, so to speak, closer to the hosel, then the lower the Maltby playability factor. Another important part of this is moment of inertia. We have a very sophisticated moment of inertia machine here in the design studio, and that moment of inertia machine will come up with a number on that head. That moment of inertia is nothing more than that head's resistance to rotating or twisting on off-center hits. If we all hit it in the middle of the face like a touring professional hits it, we wouldn't need to worry about moment of inertia. But we don't do that, and we can't do that because we don't have that kind of a skill level. So the higher moment of inertia, and explained in a little simpler way to most golfers, is it widens the sweet spot. The higher the MOI, the bigger the sweet spot. The lower the MOI, the smaller the sweet spot. So moment of inertia, obviously being higher, gets more Maltby playability factor points. So again, we use the center of gravity location and the moment of inertia, which are two key mass and dimensional properties of that club head. Now here's what you also need to know. MPF has those characteristics to determine which category that club will fall into, but the iron head itself and the finished club itself have many other characteristics that MPF does not take into consideration. If we have, for instance, the sole on a club with a leading edge below the trailing edge, meaning it's got a lot of dig, it's obviously a very poor sole design. MPF doesn't tell us that. I need to put that kind of information out to you, which I will when I discover it. Or how about a set of irons that are way too de-lofted for a certain individual, and the manufacturer, the designer decided that, well, I'm going to crank them down about 9 more degrees. I'll find that and point that out to you. MPF doesn't take that into account. It doesn't take into account the length of the club, the shaft that's in the club fitting the individual, the swing weight, the grip size. Those are all things that we have to do. How do we now do those on top of MPF, which only puts us into the certain category that head falls into on ease of play? Well, what we do is we become Maltby certified. And in the certification process, there are 2 books, the fitting book and the Maltby playability factor book for irons, and 7 DVDs. So when we become Maltby certified and we use MPF, then we're utilizing a thing called dynamic playability that you see on the side behind me. This is an important concept to keep in your mind. You're taking your knowledge that you learned from all these materials that we provided you in the Maltby certification, and you've gotten a certificate for it and you're trained on it. And what you're doing now, you know all about set makeup. We fit set makeup. It's not one of those measurable fitting processes, but we need to know how to work with a customer to fit set makeup. So all these things combined with our knowledge put us into the category of we are truly utilizing dynamic playability to help that golfer play better golf. Now, if you couple that, and I mentioned this earlier about our PGA instruction, you add in PGA instruction on top of dynamic playability, which I'm utilizing more here on equipment-wise, and now we end up with true dynamic playability, where that person coming into our store can leave, they're going to play better, they're going to enjoy this game more, and hopefully they're going to stay in it and last a lot longer. So we have something that no one else has. We have an abundance of very accurate technical information. We definitely have people that want to learn and become certified. And in the end, that will make us the most successful of any of the stores.